Hi, three things I learned about language objectives. One thing I learned is that language objectives explains how students will use language to learn content. This means students are not just learning a subject like science or math, but also learning how to talk, read, write, and understand that subject. For example, students might need to describe, explain, or summarize what they learned. Another thing I learned is that language objectives focus on specific academic language, such as vocabulary and sentence structures. This includes important words like ecosystem or graph, and grammar patterns like comparing or explaining steps. These help students fully understand and participate in the lesson. Three is that language objectives support all students, not just English learners. While they are especially helpful for English learners, they also make expectations clear for everybody by showing exactly what kind of language skills students need to use. How I can apply this as a teacher. As a future elementary teacher, I can use language objectives by clearly stating what students will do with language during a lesson. First, I will connect language to content by planning activities where students explain their thinking. For example, in a science lesson, I might have students describe the steps of a plant's growth using sentence stems. Second, I will teach key vocabulary and language structures before or during lessons. For example, in math, I can teach words like greater than or equal to and model how to use them in sentences. Third, I will support all learners with strategies such as word bank, sentence frames, and pattern discussions. This will help students feel more confident using academic language. Why is it important to learn about language proficiency? It is important for me to understand language proficiency because students learn in different ways and at different language levels. If I understand their language needs, I can better support their learning. Also, language proficiency helps me make lessons more inclusive and fair, especially for English learners. Without support, they may understand the content but struggle to express it. Finally, knowing about language proficiency helps me prepare students for an academic success because strong language skills are needed in all subjects, not just reading or writing. Three things I learned about assessing emergent bilingual students. One thing I learned is that assessments should measure content knowledge, not just English ability. If a student understands the lesson but struggles with English, a traditional test may not show what they really know. Teachers need to make sure language does not prevent students from showing their understanding. Another thing I learned is that there are different types of assessment before, during, and after learning. Diagnostic assessments help us see what students already know. Formative assessments help us check progress and adjust teaching, and some summative assessment measures what students learned at the end. This helps teachers support students throughout the learning process. The third thing I learned is that teachers can use alternative assessments and accommodations. Instead of only using written tests, students can show language through drawing, role plays, projects, or speaking. Teachers can also give support like extra time, sentence starters, or allowing students to use their first language. How I can apply this as a teacher, as a future teacher, I can use these ideas to help better support my students. I can focus on assessing content knowledge by giving students different ways to show what they know. For example, in science, students can draw and label a plant instead of only writing about it. I can use different types of assessments. I will check understanding during lessons with activities like partner talk or quick drawings, formative assessment, and use projects or simple tests. At the end, summative assessment. And and I can provide support and alternative assessments. I can also use word bank sentence frames and allow extra time.